What's going on? It's your boy Hey Woo Haynes. We out here in this Michigan Campus University. Gotta respect their rules, obviously. But we're here with Brandon. You don't mind telling your major?
Yeah, engineering management.
Engineering.
A lot more attention on this, and especially like the youngest voters as well. We have a lot more young voters this year than any other year possible.
Right.
So I feel like the young voters are reaching out their voice. Especially with the topics that happened this year with the Black Lives Matters movement, and then COVID heading, and then just especially last year's elections with their results and just attempts from Russia and all this fraud.
Right.
So I feel like there's a lot more attention. All those problems just rolled up and just built up even more into this election, and it's just been focused on it more. So the young voice, Black Lives Matter movement, COVID movement, all of that has just been honestly just influenced into it, honestly.
Okay, so do you think that these movements, I know you mentioned Black Lives Matter, I think you were talking about referring to the Proud Boys, right? Or, and all these other groups. Do you think that these are organic movements, or do you think that somebody has the hand up the puppet sort of thing going on? I mean, because I understand where you were coming from in terms of saying that, with all the things coming into play, it's causing people, it's lighting a fire up under them, right? Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is that the process has to be honest. So one, I want to ask you a two-part question. The first part is that, do you think the voting process works?
Do I think the voting process works? I haven't really experienced enough of it to know, because this is my first time voting. Right. But do I believe it helps? Yeah, I believe it helps. Okay. Do I think it works? I wouldn't be able to answer that, honestly, until to see, just give it more time to see what's going to happen. Right. But as far as I believe, I think it works. Because America is an amazing country, and it changes. It changes very, painfully. Any other country, I don't think it changes as much. But America, it changes decade by decade. I mean, last year, I'm not sure if I could say that, but last year, Obama, when he was campaigning, he was all about against gay marriage. That was part of his campaign.
Last election cycle.
Yeah, when Obama was running back in 2012, I think it was.
Yeah, 2008 to 2016.
Yeah, he was against gay marriage. That was a part of his campaign. And now, this year, it's all about that. Everybody's about that. And
I think he did. He passed a lot of rights for gays. I don't think that he was against gay marriage. Mm-hmm. But, I understand what you're saying. There are administrations, when they come and go, they never really stick to the promises that they campaign for, or that they campaign during their, during the election cycle. But, what I will say is this: if you take this into consideration too as well, I think this is important. This is where I'm going with this, is that if we already know that 5 times, and those 5 times being the election of 1824, 1876, 1888, the election of 2000 and 2016, 5 times where the president was elected without having the plurality of the popular vote, which means that he got elected by the Electoral College. Now, the one that I like to isolate is the 1824 election, which was between Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams. Now, 1824 was the first time that the popular vote was instituted, okay? And that was the selection of our 10th president. So understand this: the first 9 presidents, the people didn't even elect. Okay? And in 1824, Andrew Jackson won the Electoral College, and he won the popular vote. So with that being said, my question is, if we already have presidents or examples throughout history to let us know that our presidents have been selected and not elected, how much legitimacy does that take away? Or if the process is legitimate at all after that conclusion, but how much does that take away from that process when we look at history, if we're looking at it through the lens of history?
Yeah, honestly, if you bring up that and all that, yeah, it honestly just makes you question it, our president and all that, and did we elect them or were they selected?
Right.
But honestly, even if they were selected by the people, that's the Electoral College votes, we were the people that put them in that position. So I feel like it's more of we knew we were giving them power, because the president, the country was made so that the person up there, it wasn't a dictatorship, that he wouldn't have all that power. But somebody had to give him that power. It was us, the people, that hundreds of years ago when it first started, that we started giving him powers and powers and powers.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like the president might have too much power.
Oh, right. Okay. I totally agree with you, because what you were just articulating is that there is this top-down philosophy that we are buying into, whereas we vote on the federal level, but then state and local politics we refuse to participate in. So the numbers are, and they broke records this year with, I think, they said that even in mail-in votes it was 65 million voters. So they broke numbers in terms of voting, but the reality of it is that less than 10% of Americans vote locally. We don't elect our governors, our lieutenant governors, our secretary of states, our senators. We're not electing these individuals, our county prosecutors. So when you have individuals like, or groups like Black Lives Matter and all of these groups going out campaigning for, prison reform or police reform, you have to ask yourself, if you're not participating locally, electing your sheriffs, electing your county prosecutors, the people who might put you in jail, who might rule against you, how plausible is reform? Because it has to come from a state level. When you go to court, it's you versus your state. It's not you versus the federal government. So we're relieving a lot of that responsibility, like you said, by creating and contributing to a bigger bureaucracy, right? And with the president at the head, well, supposedly, because we know that he has power in the nominal sense. It's not any real power. So the point being is that when we consider that, not just the fact that, okay, what we went over, the fact that voting was instituted in 1824. We've always already established that voting has not always determined the presidency. And we've also established what? That we do a lot more voting on the federal level than the local level. Isn't it safe to say that the process is flawed, or if not outdated, to say the least? Or, I mean, does it have any utility? Is it even effective? And so, like you mentioned, that the young people too as well, they're getting involved, they're voting. But if you don't have an informed citizenry, then how effective, like we said, the system is tampered and has been contaminated from the bottom up. So my question to you is that after that information, and it's just, a little bit of information, we don't have to go into, but how does that affect, do you still believe that this is a process that will work itself out? Or do you believe that this is just another ploy that the system is using to keep the American people distracted while other things are going on?
That one's a tough question, honestly. Yeah, there. I feel like it's a mix of both. Okay. I believe that most people, they're all good people. They all just want the best for others. Obviously, there's some bad apples around there, but I believe most people are just good people that just want to seek the best for each other. Okay. So, honestly, I feel like we will reform and we will outdate it, because you said some stuff is outdated. Now, even our workforce is outdated. Like right now, COVID just hit and everybody's working online. People are like, wait, this is a lot more efficient, productivity has gone up and all that. So I feel like over time we'll be changing, and then especially with new technology coming in and all that, and then it's the option to vote from home and do it online was never an option, like 30 years ago? Right. It was never an option. Now it's an option. So I feel like it's definitely going to change, and we just need to be able to keep up with that change. Okay. And honestly, it's just that the update and just the process, and especially with government, just do it so quick. I think it's just the government